Hello viewers, welcome to Ekam IAS Academy. In this particular video, we are going to discuss about yesterday's successful launch of XPoSAT satellite by ISRO and what are the mission's objectives and what are the benefits we are going to receive from this mission and what are all the related things you have to know from your prelims perspective. So stay tuned till the end so that you will not miss any important thing from your prelims exam and as well as mains exam. So we'll start the video here. So you have to understand that XPoSAT satellite was launched using PSLV-C58. That is a launch vehicle of ISRO, and you know PSLV had a huge success rate. So out of yesterday's mission was 60th mission. So out of 60, 58 was successful. So that is the success rate of PSLV. So that is why PSLV is considered as workhorse of ISRO, and it is a 4-stage launch vehicle, 4-stage, and for the first time we started using liquid engine based technology from PSLV itself. Till then we have only solid based engine technology in space, especially in launch vehicles and all. So this is a achievement of ISRO using PSLV, and previously we have launched Chandrayaan-1 as well as Mangalyaan mission also in 2013 using PSLV, but it has its own limitations also. So in your mains perspective, you have to know fundamental difference between PSLV and GSLV, what are its own positives and negatives. So these type of questions you can expect in mains, but at the same time you should also remember in prelims that whenever a significant mission, for example in this year, that is last year 2023, you can say India has successfully launched Chandrayaan-3, and India became the first country to successfully land on the southern pole of the moon. So these are significant achievements. If you see the syllabus of UPSC mains, in that there is a clear line mentioned that achievements of Indians in space and or science and technology also. So that means anything which is achieved by India for the first time or a significant achievement will always attract the eye of the examiner. So you should always focus in that perspective also. So here you have to focus on what is the object behind this mission, why we are launching and why we are going to study about X-rays and how it is helping us in understanding about black holes, neutron stars and all this we are going to discuss. So stay tuned till the end so that we will not miss anything. So this is the image of the satellite and its payloads. So here we will discuss it further, and here you have to know these are the things we are going to discuss as part of this video. So what is this particular issue, why XPoSAT was launched, what are the components of it or what are the payloads of it, and why we are going to study X-rays, okay, how X-rays are generated or created in space and why we need to study about them, and what are black holes, how they are formed, their classification mechanism, and how black holes and studying about black holes will help in understanding more about the universe. So these are the main components we are going to look into this video. So this subject, this will fall under GS paper 3, achievements of Indians in space and science and technology, especially space technology. So why this is an achievement for India? Because you know very well that India has successfully launched yesterday, and it is first for India and second in the world, because this type of achievements is already achieved by another country, which is NASA. So an USA USA Space Research Agency, NASA has successfully launched such similar mission in 2021 itself. Okay, so that is why we are second in the world, and we are going to be the first time we have successfully tested something related to X-ray polarization and all in this particular sector for the first time. So here we are going to discuss about XPoSAT mission. So here what we are going to discuss, about PSLV-C58. So this is a launch vehicle, and we have already discussed in the few minutes back that this is considered as workhorse of ISRO, and it is a 4-stage launch vehicle, and for the first time we have incorporated this liquid engine technology using PSLV only. 4 stages means we have solid, liquid, solid and liquid. This is the 4-stage in fuel technology which is used in PSLV, and you know PSLV is used for maximum low Earth orbits and for satellites less than or around equal to 1000 kgs maximum, 1000 to 1500 kgs only. So for satellites which have to carry huge payloads, that is for greater than 10,000 kgs or something, then we have to rely upon another launch vehicle, that is GSLV. So if you want to dwell deep into the space also, then you have to use GSLV as a launch vehicle. So you have to know the comparative terms between how PSLV is useful and how GSLV will be useful, and what are their own advantages and disadvantages. So that should be also kept in mind. And here you have to focus on main concept is, first time we have tested a polarimetry mission of X-rays. So what is this XPoSAT? Okay, so the intention behind launch of this is clear. So here you can understand polarization normally means, the concept you have to understand is polarization. Okay, so polarization, you might have known this light polarization and all. So polarization means whenever something, so for example, if there is a light, okay, so light, if it is transmitting and if it is traveling in different directions, you can say this is unpolarized light, means it is not following a specific direction. But in case, okay, so you are placing some object here, polarized object, okay, so after you are making this unpolarized light to pass through this polarized object, so that from now onwards light will be passing only in this defined direction. Okay, so this is nothing but polarization. Polarization means whenever the light, okay, so we will understand where the light is going to bend or where it is getting absorbed, what is the nature of light, which type of body is emitting which type of light and all. So all these things are related to polarization. So this is a concept you have to understand. So what we are going to discuss about here, we are going to discuss about different celestial sources. Celestial sources means which are related to universe. So here celestial sources like stars, you know, stars, one example we have is sun. Okay, our sun is a star. So sun we have stars, other stars or neutron stars, black holes, all these are celestial sources. So whenever the light passes through them, so there is some change in direction or change in nature of absorption and all. So how these things are happening, so why some light is not getting reflected or why sometimes light is getting bent and all these things we'll understand through this mission. That is the main intention behind launching of this particular mission. So it is designated to observe from the low Earth orbit. So where this satellite was launched, this satellite was launched in low Earth orbit. This is extremely important for your prelims perspective. So simply they can ask you what is XPoSAT mission. So one straight question you can expect is what is its objective. So here you have to understand that we will know what is polarization and how polarization happens in X-rays. So you will understand more detailedly about the universe. So that is the main objective behind this mission. At the same time they can ask another question that XPoSAT is based in which orbit? So it is in low Earth orbit. Low Earth orbit means around 300 to 400 kilometers from the surface of the Earth. See? So from there it is placed almost at approximately 650 kilometers. Normally 300 to 400 is preferred, but here XPoSAT is placed in 650 kilometers of low Earth orbit from the low Earth, okay. And here you have to know the mission life is 5 years. Approximately for 5 years this XPoSAT mission will work, okay, in this particular orbit, and it is going to give information more about the universe. So here what we are going to observe, so here XPoSAT is primarily focusing on Earth's eclipse period to maximum efficiency, to maximize efficiency. So during eclipse, okay, so we are going to get maximum efficiency. So how these things are happening, and during eclipse, okay, so you know sun, earth and moon, if they are in a straight line or sometimes they can be at a right angle direction. So in these situations how the light is refracting or how the light is getting polarized, all these things we are going to know. This is another important thing you have to understand. So what are the payloads? Payloads means satellite will consist of some instruments, no, to do its work and all. So 2 payloads were sent as part of this XPoSAT mission. So here you have to understand XPoSAT mission is initially consisting of a payload called POLIX. POLIX is nothing but Indian X-ray polarimeter. Polarimeter means this is mainly used to measure the length and degree of inclination, okay. So whenever the polarization is happening, so how much is the degree and angle, okay, how much is the angle it is getting bent, or how much is the degree of polarization, all these things we'll understand from this particular instrument. And then we have another thing is XPECT. XPECT is also another payload as part of this mission. It is used to analyze how light is getting absorbed and emitted, okay. So whenever the light is getting absorbed or sometimes light is getting emitted, so we'll understand these things from this particular payload aspect. So here you need not remember much more about them, but you have to remember about objective behind this particular payload. So both the payloads are built by Raman Research Institute. Raman Research Institute is an autonomous research institute. It is collaborating with UR Rao Space Center. This is a part of ISRO. So these two worked together, they have collaborated, they have developed these two scientific payloads which will help XPoSAT to achieve its objectives. Now, so the most important thing of this video is why we are going to study about X-rays and how X-rays are giving sensitive information about the universe. So here, you know, normally there will be electromagnetic radiation. Electromagnetic radiation will consist of different gamma rays, light rays, X-rays are also part of electromagnetic radiation. So one main thing, the unique feature of X-rays is normally X-rays will have shorter wavelength and higher energy. So normally, you know, this is a wave, okay. So here, in case if the distance between two waves is lesser, then you will say shorter wavelength. But for bodies like these, then here the wavelength is high, okay. So higher wavelength will be there in such bodies. Here lower wavelength will be there. So X-rays are those type of unique rays, so which will have shorter wavelength. In case if the shorter is the wavelength, that will have higher energy, okay. So the reverse case will be there. So you can easily remember shorter wavelength bodies will have higher energy. So X-rays are having higher energy and shorter wavelengths. So what is a wavelength? It is around 0.03 to 3 nanometers. Sometimes they are so small that even they are less than one atom in an element, okay. So that is a so small size of the X-rays sometimes. So here you have to remember that physical temperature of an object is also determining the length, wavelength of the particular X-ray or the radiation in which it is emitting. So for example, if there is a hotter object, okay, there will be shorter wavelength because higher the energy, shorter will be the wavelength. So here we are getting these X-rays which are shorter wavelength bodies with higher energy. That means higher energy means they should be emitted by bodies with higher temperatures. Higher temperatures means, for example, we have different celestial bodies like sun. You know, sun is having at its core, it is having millions of degrees of temperature. So such bodies which are having higher temperature will emit these type of energy, these type of X-rays, okay. So what is the source of X-rays in space is, it is clear now. So you have to understand that X-rays, as they are of shorter wavelength, they are generated from bodies which are having higher energy. Higher energy bodies like stars. Stars can be like neutron stars, it can be pulsars, it can be galactic supernova, remnant supernova. Whenever supernova explosion happened, whatever the remnants are, that it can be such remnants or it can be black holes also. So we are going to discuss about black holes also. So this is a source of X-rays in space. So from where these X-rays are getting generated. Now what is the significance of this mission? Why we are knowing about this? So with this polarization, because polarization means we have understood, okay, why the light is getting oriented, okay, how it is getting oriented, what is the degree and angle. So all these things we'll understand what is the orientation of light waves. So we'll know it in a much better way. And also we are knowing about electromagnetic radiation. So how, okay, and also we are studying about different cosmic sources. So whatever the sources we have studied, supernova, remnants, black holes, neutron stars, and how these are helping us, okay, so or how these are giving us valuable information regarding this light polarization. All these things also we are expected to know from this XPoSAT mission. Then we are going to discuss about black holes. So you might have heard about this black holes many times. So black holes are those which are very large, okay. So these are a point in space, you can say, where light also cannot transmit through them. So it is having so much of gravitational pull that even light also cannot pass through it, okay. So light also cannot transmit. Then how we are able to know that there is a black hole? It is not even visible to the eye, but how we are knowing is whenever the light is transmitting in the universe, suppose in case, okay, if there is a black hole, so light cannot pass through it, right? So it has to change its direction either this way or this way. So when there is a change in direction and when we cannot see any body, so then we can assess that here there is a presence of black hole. So in this way we are knowing about black holes, okay. So where the black holes are located and all these things. So here black hole is a region in space where the gravitational pull is so high, so that even light also cannot escape its gravitational field. Okay, so that particular area beyond which, the boundary beyond which such things happen is called event horizon. Okay, so this is what you have to keep in mind. So normally whenever these black holes occur or whenever these black holes form is whenever a massive star, okay, like even sun is a massive star for us, but there are more bigger stars than sun. So in case if a sun like star will die or it will collapse, so it will collapse and its gravitational pull will try to make it into collapse after few days, like after its fuel or the nuclear fuel, whatever it is supporting in that star has completed, then that star will die and that particular star will turn to be a black hole. In this way black holes are formed. How these black holes are formed and all is not known till date, but these black holes are helping us in understanding how the galaxy is formed, and they are also helping us in understanding more about the celestial bodies. So till date we are trying to send different missions and we are trying to use different instruments to understand what is the gravitational wave and how these black holes are like located and why they are what are the changes they are undergoing and all. For example, we have some space observatories, like we have Henley Space Observatory in Ladakh. This is a space observatory, okay, so dark sky reserve we can say, but this is based on land and we are from there we are just identifying what is going on in space. But what is the main intention behind this XPoSAT is all these missions are based in land only, so we are not knowing the exact information, but sometimes in case here through this XPoSAT we are sending the satellite into space and from there we are placing the satellite into the space and from there we are knowing the information, so that it can give more unknown information what we are not known about till date. So here these are the different types of black holes. So black holes are of three types mainly: stellar, supermassive and intermediate. Here you can understand stellar black holes will be created normally whenever the massive stars explode. Okay, so whenever a massive star explodes, that means whenever it collapses and all, then it will create a stellar mass black hole. Then supermassive is when it will be normally at the center of the galaxies. So whenever it is located at the center of the galaxies means it is in a huge size and it is not in the state of collapse. Then intermediate means which is finding mass value is between stellar and supermassive, then we can say those are in intermediate nature. Okay, so you can easily understand that these are in the early stages of formation. Then these you can say after intermediate stage. Okay, so they are in the intermediate stage and you can say here they are in the verge of collapse. Okay, so these are the three different types of black holes we have. Okay, so what is the significance of black holes? So why it is important to know about black holes is we will know about cosmological insights. Cosmological insights means how the universe formed, what are the different galaxies we have, what are the bodies we have, how the stars are formed, how stars die. Okay, so all these things we'll understand in case if we know a major breakthrough about the black holes. Then we have quantum gravity also. We can understand about gravity. Okay, so you know gravitational pull of this particular black hole is so high or so intense. So how this quantum gravity, okay, it is functioning within the black holes, and how the universe is, what type of gravitational pull is there in this black holes and all also will understand. Then technological upgradation. When we are trying to do such missions, we have to we generally need cutting edge technology. So for these particular missions, when we are upgrading our technology, we are becoming technologically advanced. So that is also one important objective which we are achieving through this mission. Then another important thing of yesterday's mission is we are going to study about some neutron stars as well. So what are neutron stars? Neutron stars are those massive stars which exhaust their nuclear energy. So nuclear fuel, whatever the fuel that is running these stars, okay, or their life cycle. So whenever they are not having any nuclear fuel further, so what they will not have this nuclear fuel so that the outer layers will support their gravity. So whenever this nuclear fuel is exhausted, then they will explode. Okay, so outer layers will get exploded and then it will collapse into its core, okay, which is under its own gravity, and it will become a neutron star. There are different types of stars we have. Okay, So then it will form a neutron star. Like we have red giant star, we have neutron star, these are all. What is the significance of this mission? So here you have to understand secrets of the universe will be known, okay. So how these black holes are formed, what is creating these black holes, why the light polarization is happening, okay, how this degree and angle is changing, what is the nature of the light, or through which mediums light is getting absorbed, or when it is getting bent. All these things we'll understand through this mission. So the objective behind this mission is understanding light polarization as well as understanding how the nature of black holes and neutron stars was. So all these things we are understanding through this mission. Now, from your prelims perspective, what are the things you have to keep in mind from this particular video? So you have to understand what is the objective behind this mission, what is the launch vehicle, differences between PSLV and GSLV. You have to remember what is low Earth orbit, what is a black hole, and what is a neutron star. These are the main things which you have to keep in mind. So here you have to remember that India is not the first country to launch some polarization to study X-rays. So India is the second country in the world, and we have achieved for the first time in India. This is what you have to keep in mind. Don't get confused in this point. And now we'll see the practice question for will it become nebula, or will it become supernova, or will it become red giant, or will it become a white dwarf star? So this is a question. Answer your, the mains question is write a note in the origin of the earth and planets in the solar system. Examine how do scientists study birth of planets in the universe. So about the formation of planets and the stars you have to answer in. So this is a detailed explanation regarding what is XPoSAT mission, what are the objectives and why it is significant for India. Thank you.